Hey, what's up, guys? And good morning on a Saturday morning. Appreciate you guys joining for another stream here. We're going to be taking part in another FSEconomy flight. Donovan, how you doing? Thanks for joining. We're here at, where are we? Garden City Regional in the Cirrus 328 Tango Delta SR20. B-Flight Air SR20. And got a decent trip planned today, a little under 200 miles, and a couple things to talk about, maybe some subscriber questions, going to get to those, and also my escapades upgrading to the beta version of X-Plane, which has been fine except for one issue that I've had, which I'll talk about. So anyway, looking forward to it, and let's get to it. So get this music off here. All right, so we are, again, we are Garden City here in Kansas, Garden City, Kansas. We're still about 1,000 miles away from LAX, making our way across the United States, started in Pennsylvania. The whole idea of this series is I bought this plane in Pennsylvania on FSEconomy. I paid like, I don't forget, like 200 grand for it or something like that. And I want to have an SR20 in Hawaii because I love flying in Hawaii with the Ortho 4XP. So the idea is to get this plane to the West Coast and then box it up and hire someone on FSEconomy to ship it over, hopefully with a 737 or something that has at least a 3,000 mile range. So that's the plan. And I'm trying to pick up some passengers along the way to make a little gas money, which I have been able to do, which is good. But this trip, I think I've got a couple of passengers at one of the hops. It's a 2-hop trip, and then so we'll definitely make gas money, but it's not a real lucrative. The whole idea is I'm not really looking to make money on this. I'm just trying to get it across the country, and that's the whole idea. So let's take a look at what we're going to be doing today. Get my thingy up here. All right, so there's the flight. So we're going to be going from Garden City, and we'll be taking that 117 miles to La Junta. I guess that's how you pronounce it, La Junta. We're going to pick up a couple of passengers in La Junta, Kilo Lima Hotel X-Ray. And then we're going to fly about 50 nautical miles to Trinidad and Kilo Tango Alpha Delta. So the whole thing's going to be about 194 nautical miles. I put in some waypoints just to get us lined up. I'm going to do straight-in approaches today, just to make it a little bit easier. And we're going to be in the trusty SR20. And let's see. So as far as FSEconomy goes, let's do this. Let's rent. We're going to rent the plane here. This is my plane. Now there's nothing to pick up here, unfortunately, that's going west. Everything was going east or southeast, so we couldn't really pick up anything up there. But when we get to La Junta, we will have 3 passengers to pick up to take them to Trinidad right here. So I'm just gonna grab those right now. All right, so those will be in our assignments, and then when we get to Trinidad, we're not going to have, well, we may have something, we'll see, for our next trip, but probably not. The whole idea is I'm trying to take the route to, if I go back to this here, we're going to go, let me just zoom out here. So here's, here we are here. LA is, we're down here somewhere, right there, okay. I want to go via way of Las Vegas, which I think is, where's Las Vegas? Indian Springs, nope. Nope, somewhere around here. Damn, come on, where's Las Vegas? There it is. So I want to go via Las Vegas to LA, so we're going to go boop, and we're going to go through the Grand Canyon. I plan on stopping here, Grand Canyon Airport, and then there's another airport in here we can pick up some passengers and take them to. Probably pick up some passengers and take them to Las Vegas. So this will at least get us here, and then we're going to try to just shimmy on down to the southwest, down to LA. So this is about 1,000 miles from where we are here in Garden City to LA. All right. So that's the plan overall. We'll just take it step by step, and it really depends on what jobs or assignments are available on FSEconomy. Like I said, I try to weave in some jobs there to make it to add a little money. So right now I've got 110,000, actually 120,000. I still do have the Beechcraft for sale. Oh, looks like it needs some repairs. Oh, I got to fix that. Let's see here. What's the problem with that? Yeah, no one's going to buy if it needs repairs. Let's just see. Maintenance. FBO. What? What is this stuff I have to do here? Okay, let's perform that. All right, let's see if that goes away. Okay, so that's fixed. You're not going to sell the plane if it needs if it needs work. I have it for 895,000. So you want to buy a King Air in Charlotte, which gets a decent amount of use. See here, gets a decent amount of use. Go to Charlotte and pick it up. So there it is. All right, so my flight. Okay, we've got the plane rented. I got 35 gallons of gas. I'm going 200 miles total. We're going to have 3 passengers at some point. And let's just see, it's 200. So we're going to need 13 gallons. We have plenty of gas, so not going to worry about gas. Although, you know what? Yeah, why don't we just top it off to 40? Doesn't hurt. Just add a little fuel. There you go. All right, so when we get to Kilo Lima Hotel X-Ray, we'll be picking up these 3 passengers, which will make us about $1,600. Actually, probably about $1,200 after costs and stuff. But still, it'll at least cover gas costs. Although how did that gas cost me? Oh, I did the repair. Yeah, duh. Let's look at that repair. Can I see the repairs? Let's see. View report. Cost me $1,200 for the report. What did I have to do? Just maintenance. All right. Okay. So that's that. Let's get to my flight here. And we are good to go. I do have one little problem. The problem I have is, let me get this off here. For some reason, Flight Plan Go isn't connecting with X-Plane. Now I'm going to talk about this. I upgraded to the beta version. It's 11.10 beta 8. So I think it's 8, just came out yesterday. And for some reason, I tried for about a half hour to connect Flight Plan Go with X-Plane, and it's not connecting. So I'm not sure if that has something to do with the beta or whatever. But I'll have to figure that out at some other point. But at least we have the flight plan there, and we'll be able to keep track of where we are. So yeah, getting pretty close, Donovan. That's the truth. CBB photo. Good morning. It's cool catching you live and watching your streams once. Okay, updated. I'm one of the few dabbling in VR. Oh, cool. Yeah. There's not many people on YouTube that are flying in VR. Bell Geode is one. He does a lot of VR flight and Airfly. You might want to check out his channel. Yeah, so this is kind of a new thing, and just a plug for the VR Aviators group on Facebook. If you're interested in that, you can catch the VR Aviators group. I'll show you that here. Let's see here. So there's the VR Aviators group. We've got 116 members after about 2 weeks, I guess it is. So it's quite a few people interested. So check that out on Facebook, VR Aviators group. And if you're interested in that, go ahead and join. Some good chat, especially related to configurations with VR, and a lot of helpful information. So yeah, be sure to check that out. Alrighty, well, let's get on with the flight here. Let's get on with the flight here. So, alrighty, let me just see what let's go inside. Get the plane started up. I want to, oh, that's weird. There's the SR20. You can see there's the back seat back there. Got our SR20. All right, I'm not going to be able to see chat, guys, so unfortunately, let me get myself situated here. And this is one thing you have to do in VR. You got to make sure you're all lined up. This is a little weird. There you go. All right, I want to turn... All right, let's get this puppy started up. So we're going to go mixture to full. We're going to go... now, I read actually that the throttle should be full, but I usually put it at like about 3/4 and it starts up just fine. So we're going to get the batteries on here. Oops. All right, we're good there. We're going to go clear prop, and I do have a, well, I'll just use the key. Why not? All right, good start there. Let's get the alternators on, avionics on. They're coming on, and get the nav, the strobe. Keep the landing on. We'll put the heat on. And that's good to go. I'm going to load up my flight plan. I already have this set up. If you're interested in seeing how I do this, oops. Okay, boom, my flight plan's in there. If you're interested in seeing how I do this, just check out, I put a video up on how to integrate a flight plan, SkyVector, how to get a SkyVector flight plan into the GPS in X-Plane 11. So just check my videos out. It's a good video on that. Let's get our CDI to GPS. There's our first route there. We're going to go to TEKAE. That's the first waypoint. That's going to direct this direct in. I like to have nearest on. Inset. Okay. And back to there. Let's get our transponder on altimeter. Just walking BFR 1200. And we're going to set our comms and stuff before that, so, or before we go. Right now we'll just bring it back to idle. Let the plane warm up. Beautiful. Check our systems. Yeah, I noticed since I upgraded to the beta, the idle speed on this plane is much slower. I'm not sure if that's X-Plane. It must be X-Plane 11 because that's the only thing that's changed. But I'm also getting pretty good frame rates, 25, which is pretty good. And I'm in the higher setting of fly inside. I went back to the higher setting, the 2380, whatever it is, to give me better graphic quality. And I could read the displays pretty well. That's a big question I get all the time. Can you read the displays? And I'm sitting here, I feel like I'm probably about 2 feet away, virtually away from the G1000s, the MFD and the PFD, and I could read them both pretty darn well. So anyway, so that's it. Flight plan is loaded. Going in and out of fly inside here. Come on back in. There you go. Flight plan is loaded. I just like to hit the altimeter button so I know what my altitude is at the airport here. Yeah, it's almost like I have to. Yeah, it's just weird the way that's working now. Anyway, so that's good. And we'll get let me get the let's get the comms set up. So first thing we do is where am I flying from? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not on Pilot Edge, Dean. I'm just on FSEconomy because piloted. I don't have pilot. I'm not. I'm not sure Pilot Edge goes out this far, and I don't have that service. I only have the LA area service because I'm too cheap to pay for the whole thing. Okay, and it's plenty of flying for GA in those areas. So yeah, I'm only on I'm on FSEconomy right now. But if you look in the upper left-hand corner there, that's the flight. I'm going from Garden City, Kansas to Trinidad, Colorado. I think it is. Yeah, Trinidad, Colorado. So that's the plan for today. All right, let me get my radios. Okay, so we're gonna go. Let's see. We're just gonna go to tower. SETCOM 1 to 118.15. Oh, sorry.
COM1 set to 118.14.
Actually, SETCOM 1 to 119.
COM1 set to 110.9.
Okay, and I'm going to switch that. SETCOM 1 to 119.
COM1 set to 110.8.
No. SETCOM 1 to 119.0. That's weird. SETCOM 1 to 119.0.
COM1 set to 119.0.
Okay. That's ground, and then SETCOM 1 to 118.15.
COM1 set to 118.15.
Okay, that's tower. And then ATIS is 121.32. SETCOM 2 to 121.32.
COM2 set to 121.32.
All right, so that's our radius. Now, there's no tower here. We're not in FSEconomy, so I'm just kind of doing this for grins here. But let's listen to the ATIS.
Garden City RGNL information Sierra. 1500 Zulu weather. Wind calm, visibility more than 10. Sky clear, temperature 9, dew point -25. Altimeter 2992. Arriving runways 3530, departing runways 3530.
All right.
Advise on initial contact. You have Sierra.
All right, so we have Sierra and we're at 35. So let me look at 35 here. Let's see in the upper left there. Where am I? Well, you can't see where I am, but I know where I am. I was going to fly 1.7, but 3.5 is what I want to fly. That's the opposite way, so we'll just do that. Okay, cool. And then we'll pick up our GPS and we'll fly to our next stop. So let me get to the map here. Now you're not going to see, unfortunately, you're not going to see the trail, the moving map today because, again, I can't get it working with X-Plane. Maybe that'll work as we're going along here. Not sure. Maybe I should have rebooted, but I'm not going to do that now. In any event, let's just check out the elevation is correct. And the elevation of, now we're going to be landing at La Junta, which is 4,200. We're at about 2,800 now, so we probably, when I'm going to fly at about 6,000. That should get us up to where we want to go. So we'll be flying at about 6,000 feet today. And we should be good to go. Yeah, Donovan, plane command is a must in VR. It really is. It just makes things so much easier. It really does. Okay, so let's set our trim. That's good. Probably should do, let's just look at the checklist. All right, engine we did already. Okay, so we're going to do all that. Flaps, we're going to go to, it's going to be at 1. When radios are set, cabin heat's good, fuel selector is, we'll worry about that when we set up FSEconomy. Parking brake, brakes, directional, okay, all that's altitude, gyro, turn coordinator. Let's just make sure my My controls are working. Aileron, elevator, rudder. Good. Okay, so that's all working. And I think we're good to go. Next. That's our takeoff. So we'll go back. Let's go back and we'll do that before we take off. So we're going to taxi to 3.5, which is down. Actually, we're heading towards 3.5. So let's taxi there. Let's do it. All right, here we go. I think I'm going to have to lower the volume of that. That engine's a little bit loud. It seems like a little bit loud. Yeah, so I upgraded to the beta, which was a little tense for me because I didn't want to have a faulty system, but it seems to be working okay. Frame rates I've definitely seen some improvements in frame rates. As I said, I'm able now to run fly inside at the higher graphics setting, which is always great. Everything just looks better. It's easy to read and stuff. And let's see, I'm getting 23, so as long as it's above 20, I'm happy. And in some of the Ortho 4XP areas, I was really getting like in the mid to high 30s, which is great. So, all right, we're going to assume run up, guys, and get on the road here. Yeah, so I guess this is our runway. You know what, I'm hitting the brake. Sometimes I hit that brake on the rudder pedal by just put it down a little bit. If I don't have my heels to the ground, the brake comes on. So let's go check the checklist here. All right, doors are latched. Caps handled is good. Seatbelt is fastened. Fuel quantity. Oh, there's a good reminder. Let's set up FSEconomy right now. Log in. You guys can't see this. Logging in. Start my flight. Boom. I got 40 gallons and no passengers. And let me just go to my flight. Just make sure we're good. Yep, we're good to go. All right. Let's see. CBB. I'm interested in Ortho 4, but it looks like it's quite a process to get. It's really not that hard as you think. You need a lot of disk space, that's for sure. There's some really helpful videos on YouTube that you can check out that will help you do Ortho 4XP. You need to be thorough about it, but make sure you have a lot of disk space because it takes up a ton of disk space. I mean, just the area for Pilot Edge, LA, ZLA is like about 80 gig just for that area. So got to make sure you have a lot of space for it. Jappy, hey baby, I've hit 20 subs. That's great. Congratulations. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Good job. I'll have to check out your channel, Jappy. That's great. Yeah, CVB, just let me see if I can probably pull up a video here for you. Let's see. Give me 1 second here. I have one video that's pretty let's see. Hold on. Start with this one right here. Start with that one, and that should get you going. There are a bunch of other ones on YouTube, but this is the one that I used, and this guy does a pretty good job. All right. All right, so cool. So let's get this. Let's light the candle and get out of here. So make sure our checklist. We got FSEconomy going. We got plenty of gas. Fuel selector is both tanks are equal. Fuel pump is on. Flaps we want to 1. Transponder is set. Autopilot we're ready to go there. Nav is set. Cabin heat we don't need. Brakes are on hold. Power level at 1700. We're not going to do a run up. We're going to assume that's all good. Voltage check. We're going to assume that's all good. And landing lights, we got those on. Magnetos, we're going to assume they're good. Engine parameters, good. Power lever, what does that say? 1,000 RPM. Okay. Vacuum, we're going to assume that we'll check all that stuff in a second here. Flight controls, we check those. Trim is set. Autopilot's disconnected. Boom. All right. Brakes, power lever, full forward. Engine parameters, we'll check those. Control elevator, smooth rotate at 80, 65 to 70, which we know. And flaps up at 85. All right, cool. So that's what we're going to do here. Let's just check the engine parameters. Everything looks pretty good. This is kind of weird. The electrical's kind of moving weird. That's kind of strange. Plenty of gas, and assume we're good to go. All right, so we will pick up again. We're going to climb to let's set our altitude right now. We're going to climb to 6,000. Oops. Damn. That button got stuck. All right, there you go. And I think we're ready to go, guys. So let's light this candle. Here we go. P factor, got to get the rudder. Oh, come on. Get back on the center line. Get back on the center line. There you go. All right, we're looking for 65. And there we go. And 60, 65, and rotate. Let's get off the ground. Here we go. All right, we're going to ride the rest of this runway out here. We want to get her up to 85, and then we'll flaps up. Nose will come down when we put the flaps up. And 82, 83. And let's get those flaps up right now. And there we go. Good to pick up, start to fly to our GPS. See that red line right there on the MFD? Doing nicely. And once I get there, either hand fly it up to 6,000, or we can use the autopilot, which is I think what I'm going to do. So let's get autopilot on nav, and let's get to vertical speed. 1, 2, we got that at 200, 300, and 400 is a little touchy. We'll go at 400, and actually we can go at 500. So you can see here, up the top here, the green, GPS, autopilot's on, vertical speed's 500 feet per minute, and we're climbing up to 6,010. Up here in the purple or magenta is, that's our first waypoint. Got 114 miles to get there, and about 49 minutes, but once we start rolling here, although we are picking up our airspeed here, we should move a little bit quicker, okay? It's amazing how much gas you use on takeoff. Like that needle on the left always comes down. You can see here, always comes down a tick when you take off. So we'll watch that. And unfortunately, the SR20 doesn't have an auto on it. So you have to switch tanks. Now the Cirrus Vision Jet does have an auto setting for the tanks, which is nice. So you don't have to worry about it. But this tank, you have to be diligent about it. Or this plane. You need to be diligent about it and make sure that you're keeping on track here. So, all right, let's just make sure. No, that's okay, CBB. I'm in the air, and I'm happy to do it. Just check that out. I'm sure it's going to help you. Jappy, that's great. Yeah, that Star Wars Battlefront looks like a pretty cool game. I'm going to have to check that out. And Skyrim, yeah, Skyrim VR looks pretty cool too. I haven't, I need to get back into some of those awesome VR games. Fortunately, I spend most of my time in VR in the X-Plane. But there we go, 22, 23. Okay, well, I'm happy with that. I'd rather have the better vision in fly side and be running in the low 20s because it's smooth enough. As long as you're above 20, you're okay, and it's easier to see everything in the cockpit, which is important. So, all right, so the plane's driving here, or I should say the computer's driving. And this should take us up to 6,000. A lot of very similar land here. We're going to start to get into some more desert terrain as we get western and, more west into Colorado. We are actually almost due west here. Due west, pretty much. All right. Let's go to the engine. And I want to, for some reason my EGT gauge isn't working. All right, I'm going to have to report that. Usually that, oh, there it is. I'm sorry. It's like, why is there no EGT? So we're just bringing the fuel flow back, even though I don't really care about fuel flow, but I like to lean it out a little bit. And then we'll just, once we get to altitude, we'll crank back the throttle a little bit. Coming up there pretty soon. And a little shout out to Donovan Young right there. You can see him his name on the airplane there. You ask, how did Donovan get his name on my airplane? Well, Donovan's a Patreon subscriber, a ace level Patreon subscriber. There's a link in the description if you want to check out my Patreon page. And when you subscribe at the ace level, you get your name on my plane right there. So plenty of room there for more names if you guys want to check that out. Obviously not necessary, not, it's only voluntary, obviously, but it's much appreciated. It helps me keep the stream going and add stuff to it, and bring more content and better content to you guys. So anyway, thanks, Donovan. And we do have another level, a cadet level, which is a $5 level if you want to do that. But be sure to check out my Patreon page. All right. Let's see, other information. Oh, also in association with the VR Aviators group, Donovan Young started a Discord server, VR Aviators. So if you want to check that out, if you're part of the Aviators group and you want to join that, it's I think Donovan's got some plans to do some live chats and stuff like that. So pretty cool stuff. So make sure you check that out. All right, we're going to level off here at 6010. I got to say, the autopilot is working much better on the V-Flight Air system since the last release, which is really good. All right, we're going to bring the throttle back a little bit here. Although I don't want to do it too much, so we'll bring it back to 2,500 RPM. And that should get us close to 150 knots. All right, time to switch tanks here, so I got that on a button. So we'll switch tanks over to the right. And we are good to go. What I think we should do here is let me set up my comms for the next airport. So let's zoom into that. That's going to be La Junta. So SETCOM 1 to 123.0.
COM1 set to 123.0.
SETCOM 2 to 135.525.
COM2 set to 135.52.
All right, so we're set up for our approach into La Junta. Let's see. I love to fly in VR too. Yeah, Colorado Be pretty nice to fly. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that because it's going to get, especially when I get more into the Ortho 4 as I get closer to California, it'll start to look better and better. I do have a project in mind to buy a 4 terabyte drive and do a major Ortho 4 installation, but I've got that. That's like on the things to do kind of list. So, do I fly in real weather? Yeah, sometimes I do. I'm not flying in real weather this time because that takes a lot more preparation and stuff. And yeah, sometimes I do that, especially when I'm flying on my own, just to practice, you know, like crosswind landings and stuff like that. But in these flights, because I'm talking a lot, I kind of rely on like calm conditions. And the other thing is that an X-plane, at least in VR, when you have clouds, and I want to check that, I'll check it, but because of the beta release, but there's this cloud flickering shadows that you get that are really annoying. So I kind of shy away from clouds in X-plane and VR. But you know, like I said, when I'm flying on my own, non-streaming, yeah, I definitely do that. All right, so we're flying at 100, good clip here, 152 knots, 165. And so a couple things I wanted to talk about. So let's see, where's my list of things I wanted to talk about? What I wanted to talk about. Okay, so first, the beta. Yeah, so as I mentioned before, I upgraded to 11.1. 11.10. I think I'm on the current beta, which is 8. All went smooth, which is nice. I'm definitely noticing less stuttering. I've only flown it a couple of hours, but it seems to be less stuttering and better frame rates, which is great. I went from 11.05. Okay, but I got a chance to check out the G1000, which is pretty cool. I mean, it works well, very easy to use. If you know how to use the 530, it's a little different than that, but the controls are kind of the same. So there's not a big learning curve on the G1000, and its information is good. What's really nice about it is the Vision Jet, the Cirrus Vision Jet, which is basically a stock plane that you get with X-plane, now has the G1000, which makes it now a useful plane. Before it had like a fake G1000, really didn't have any, I don't think it even had GPS before, so you really couldn't use it. But now it's got the full G1000, and let me tell you, that plane's fun to fly. A lot of fun to fly. In fact, I flew it for about 2 hours yesterday, just flying it around California and Ortho, and because you can get her up to like 280, and it's pretty quick, and you can fly her high, and you know, it's easy to land. It's very similar to the SR20 to land. I mean, obviously you're going a little faster, but it's not much different than landing an SR20 or an SR22, where you bring it in at about 90 knots, 85 knots, you flare it up, and then you drop the throttle down, and the plane just basically floats down to the runway. So it's pretty easy to land, and what's nice about it is it seats 7. Is it 7? Yeah, 7, including the pilot. So I'm hoping they put it in FSEconomy. It's not in FSEconomy now because of the restrictions of production. They have to, a plane has to have at least 50 in production before they'll put it in FSEconomy, which I can understand that, but I don't want to rag on that too much, but it seems a little restrictive. But especially since it's a standard plane that comes with X-plane 11, you know, a lot of people I think would use it, especially now it's got the G1000. So I'm hoping to get that plane in FSEconomy to start to use that in there, and you know, could certainly use it on Pilot Edge, which would be cool. But it's a nice plane. I mean, and it's because it lands much like an SR20. You can land it in smaller airports, right? And that's what it's designed for. It's designed to be like a GA jet, and it's pretty cool. And what I really love about it is the glass. The windshield is so wide, you get such a great view of everything that you don't have this like podium right here, like in your, or this, you know, this column right here in your way. Everywhere you look is just view, which is really cool. So I was really excited about that. And also I tried the G1000 in the stock 172, and it works great. Very nice. The one thing I will say about it is, and maybe I need to figure it out, it has some sort of like, the reflective on the glass makes it a little like cloudy to see, whereas here you can see, you can see crystal clear exactly what I'm looking at, because V-Flight Air has the ability to take that reflection off, but the G1000 in X-Plane has the reflection on. So I have to figure out if there's a way to remove that, because I like it flat like this so you don't see those reflections. It's just easy to read in VR. So anyway, but aside from that little thing, it's pretty cool. And it pops out just like you would expect, both the PFD and the MFD. And you can manipulate stuff, and it's really cool. I think they did a great job, and I know they're going to be expanding on it. And I'm hoping they put like airport charts in there. That would be great if they could have airport charts in there. That way you could have everything right in the cockpit, aside from having a sectional chart. But you could have everything right in the cockpit in VR, which would be awesome. So I'm pretty excited about the beta version, the X11.10. It's pretty cool, man. They did a good job, and I'm looking forward to the general availability of it coming out. So I would recommend checking it out. You want to make sure, caution, it's beta, all that, But and make sure you have if you're doing it in VR, you have to make sure you have the most current release of Fly Inside. It's 1.83, I think. I can't remember, but it's a beta version of Fly Inside. Go to their site. If you own Fly Inside already, just download the current version and install it. It's really easy, and then it'll work with VR. So, yeah, so pretty cool. The only issue I have is I can't get the moving map. I can't get Flight Plan Go to interconnect with it. And maybe I just need to reboot or something. But I'm sure I'll get past that. But aside from that, knock on wood, everything seems to be running really well. So, all right, so that's X-Plane 11. Let's see, we've got 80 miles. Instead of leaning in, let me just pull this up here. So we got 80 miles, 28 minutes, moving at 152, ground speed 166, on track, holding 6,000. Very nice, cool. Now, just a side note, I mentioned this before, the V-Flight Air folks, they are not going to use the X-Plane G1000. They're going to stick with their own, and that's fine. Theirs works fine. I don't have any issues with it at all. Pretty much, everything works well enough where you could use it as a functional aircraft. And, yeah, so happy with that. So, in any event, I would imagine you're going to start to see more and more third-party planes using the G1000. I would guess that Carenado, if they were smart, they would scrap their G1000 and just go to the X-Plane version, because theirs is terrible. Theirs is terrible. And I'm sure that's a boatload of work to work on. So I would say focus on, making your planes more efficient, better frame rates, and let Laminar handle the G1000. So in any event, that's that. So just check chat here. What are you guys saying? FSE. Do a loan with a company, a big one, buy a smaller one outright. Debate between. Yeah, you know what? I didn't do any loans with FSEconomy. I just basically I got in like the King Air, and I flew a bunch of routes, and I just made money, and I flew like a lunatic until I could afford my first plane. I bought a Cessna, a 172, which is kind of a mistake. I wouldn't buy a 172 unless you're buying it just for flying yourself, because it only has 3 passengers. You're not going to make money with it, a lot of money with it, and there's a million of them on there. So wherever you put it, you're in competition to rent it. So unless you're buying it for yourself, I would stay away from it. I bought this plane, the SR20, because it's for myself, and I figure when I get it to Hawaii, I think people probably would rent it there. So because there isn't one there, and it's a great plane for flying around Hawaii, right? So in any event, yeah, I just kind of grinded FSE and just made enough money to buy a plane, and then I bought. So I made enough to buy a. Well, let me put it this way: I bought a Carenado B1900D, which is a 19-passenger plane, and I flew the crap out of that on FSEconomy and made a lot of money. And then I sold the Cessna, and I bought a King Air C90, and that's been rented decently and making a decent amount of money. So, but the plane you want, the two planes I think are the best planes on FSEconomy if you want to make money with them, are the 1900D, which is, I want to get one, and the Caravan. Cessna was a 208 Caravan. That plane is like always the #1 rented plane on FSEconomy. And I guess because in FSE it's free, they have a free one, and you know, an X-plane you got to buy it to use it, but the FSE is, there's a lot of people on FSEconomy, sorry, FSX. There's a lot of FSX flyers on FSEconomy, and that, I believe, the Caravan's a free plane. I actually did try the Caravan in FX in Flight Simulator X or 10 or whatever you want to call it, and it's okay plane. And I might try that in FSEconomy. I might install FSEconomy for FSX and do some flights there, but I kind of prefer X-plane. But yeah, I kind of shied away from the loan. I mean, you could, you know, if you get a loan, that means you're going to have to play a lot to keep paying that loan off, you know. But in any event, FSEconomy is fun. It's, you know, if you guys aren't aware of it or haven't got into it, it's a little interesting to set it up for X-plane, but once you get over that and get it working, it really gives you a purpose to fly. It's like Pilot Edge, you know, or like if you're doing group flights with people. It gives you a purpose to fly, which is what you need in a simulator. I mean, think about it. You know, once you get in your simulator, aside from flying different planes or whatever, it could be kind of boring. You're taking off, flying, landing, okay? Doing your pattern work, you know, it depends on your dedication. But when you're in Pilot Edge, you're communicating, right? When you're in FSEconomy, you've got a reason to go. Like, I have a reason to go to California because I want to get this plane to Hawaii, right? So it's a motivation to spend a couple of hours like this flying over, you know, dusty terrain in Kansas and Colorado to get to where you want to go. So anyway, I strongly suggest checking out FSEconomy. If you're not into it yet, get into it. It's pretty cool. Yeah, FSEconomy can definitely be addictive. Let me get my flight plan here. So, let's see. We're 65 miles out from our turning point, so we're about 75 miles from our place where we want to be. So what else did I want to talk about? Okay, well, those are the kind of the things I want to talk about. I wanted to get to some subscriber questions. This is the first. So let me go to that. I got this thing set up here. And Dean, I know Dean was in here before, so I'm not sure if you're still in here, Dean. The first one is from you. So the question is, regarding X.05, when adjusting settings, if I set visual quality to maximum or have any level of reflection detail, I seem to get strange reflections from the glass cockpit and horizon. Okay, so this is an issue that I've seen too. When you have the graphics setting, that's the top setting in the graphics setting on HDR SSAO, which is the what is it, occlusion, sampling occlusion or whatever it is. I get the same problem. I get like black reflections in the glass. I get black reflections on the ground in VR, okay? In X-plane in 2D, I don't get those at all. It works just fine. So what you have to do is, at least for me, in the graphics setting of X-plane, in fact, let me just pull it up here. Hopefully I won't bomb. Let me just pull it up here. I'm not sure you can see. Can you guys see this? Yeah, you can. So if you look right here, okay, where it says high HDR, you do not want to put that above that. You go above that, it's the occlusion added to the HDR. So keep your setting right here, and you won't have that problem. Now I keep my reflection detail also at minimum. This doesn't really cause me any issues when if I boost this up, but I really don't care much about reflections, and it keeps the frame rates down. So anyway, keeping that setting not doing the it's called screen space ambient occlusion. I'm reading it from Google. It's a computer graphic technique for efficiently approximating the ambient occlusion effect in real time. So basically, it's like shadowing and occlusion of light, which would be really cool if it worked in VR, but it causes those crazy black reflections. So I just leave it off, and it hasn't really had any effect. So that's the first question. So Dean, that's your answer there. Alex L said, "Hey baby, you know, the graphics and performance look amazing here." He's talking about X-Plane 11 in VR. "I'm really torn apart between X-Plane 11 and Aerofly 2 graphic-wise. Night in X-Plane 11 is great, but Aerofly day graphics is just awesome, so vivid and very saturated, well saturated. On top of that, FPS is unbelievably good. Which one do you prefer from a graphics standpoint?" All right, so this is the kind of the debate between X-Plane and Aerofly FS2. I would tell you that Aerofly FS2 is definitely clearer, especially if you've got your Oculus Rift or you're on 200 or higher than 100% sampling. I run mine at 200 because I've got the graphics card to do it. You got to make sure you have a powerful enough graphics card to do that. So it definitely makes Aerofly in the daytime look amazingly vivid. And X-Plane 11 compared to that is a little bit fuzzy, and there's a reason for that. And the reason is you've got an add-on, you've got Fly Inside that does its best to reproject X-Plane. But X-Plane VR isn't native. Aerofly FS2 VR is native. So you're not going through that third-party reprojection, which I would imagine probably depletes the clarity a little bit. So that's probably one of the issues. For me, it's more than just visual clarity than, and more about the flight experience. While I like Aerofly FS2 quite a bit, it doesn't have the real-world functionality. It doesn't have real-world comms. It doesn't have real-world ATC. It doesn't have real-world navigation, okay, for GPS, right? So there's some major differences in the two. I think IPAX has done a great job with their simulator. I love it, love flying it, especially the glider is really cool, and it's got its place. But X-Plane 11, I think, if you want to use a simulator for practicing to be a real pilot, or if you are a real pilot and you want to practice in a VR simulator, I think X-Plane 11 offers a lot more, especially when you start to add in Pilot Edge. Or even VATSIM, right? When you have the communication ATC and the ability to navigate and do GPS based on real sectional charts and waypoints and stuff like that. You can't do that stuff in Aerofly. So that weighs into the decision for me. So my personal preference in simulator is X-Plane 11. Although I own Aerofly. I think Aerofly is great. I think they're making waves. But I think if they can make the jump away from a simulator / game to a real world simulator where you've got navigation and communication, then I think that it's a much more of an apples to apples. Now, that said, when VR native comes to X-Plane 11 at the end of the year, we're all hoping that the visuals will get better, right? And that means it's sad for Fly Inside because they're not going to be selling that module anymore, unless the native is bad like the P3D native, and most people say the P3D native VR, they'd rather use Fly Inside. But in any event, I have a feeling that Laminar is going to do a really good job with it. So I'm hoping, and I think it's a good hope, that the visuals will become clearer in X-Plane when the native VR comes around. So anyway, long-winded answer to tell you that yes, I believe Aerofly's daytime visuals are better in the current state in VR, but with all the rest that X-Plane has to offer, my choice is X-Plane. All right. So that's that one. Next one is GP says, what kind of resolution does a VR headset provide, and is it equal to at least 1080p? All right, so you can get this information if you go to the Rift or Vive website, and You check out their specs, but both of them have the same specs. Overall, it's a 2160 by 1200 is the overall pixel density with 1900 hertz. It's, sorry, 990 hertz, so 90 frames per second. It's got to be 90 frames per second because otherwise you'll get vertigo and motion sickness in VR unless you're up in the 90s in your frame rate. So yes, it is better than 1080p. It's 1200, just a little bit over, 120 pixels over 1080p, but yes, it's a little bit better than 1080p. Now, you do have screen door effect, and that's caused because your eyes are so close to the little monitor screens that are in your headset. You can, if you really look for it, you can see like pixelization. As you use VR and you kind of like get away from even thinking about that, if you really pay attention to it, your eyes will focus on it, but after a while, it kind of goes away. Now, we're always going to have screen door effect until we get to like OLED 4K displays, right? Which I know Pimax is experimenting with. They've got a Kickstarter out with what they're calling an 8K headset, which is really kind of a misnomer. It's really 4K in each eye. So if you put them together, it's a little over 4K resolution. And I was watching a review by Linus Tech Tips, and he was saying that the screen door is kind of is very difficult to detect, which is good. So until we get to those higher density screens, we're going to have screen door. And when we get rid of screen door or mitigate screen door, the more you can mitigate screen door, the clearer your video is going to be when you're looking at it. So I would say for Oculus and for HTC, which right now are the premier VR companies, headset companies, other ones are coming up, I would say that probably in the late 2018, early 2019 is when we're going to start to see the next-gen VR headsets. But keep in mind, those next-gen VR headsets that are going to be in the, maybe 14.4 or 3K or 4K range, right, they're going to require a higher GPU, and I'm sure by that time NVIDIA and AMD are going to be more than willing to sell you their next generation GPU, something that's probably 40% faster than the 1080 Ti that I have now, because you're going to drive 2 4K screens in a headset. That's a lot of graphics power that you're going to need. So I wouldn't expect, those of you that are running GTX 980s or 1060s or even 1070s, I would not expect the 1070 to be able to push a 4K VR headset. So get ready for that. Be careful what you ask for, because to use those, you're going to be upgrading your PC and probably your CPU too. Although I would expect that by that time, if we're talking X-Plane specifically, you're going to see Vulkan, which is the API, the graphics API that Laminar is moving towards, as the staple for X-Plane, which would mean that it's going to be less CPU intensive, and all that stuff will add into the visual and performance and stuff like that. So anyway, a long way of saying, when you get to the higher density VR headsets, we're all going to be looking to upgrade our PCs to be able to run them. All right. So for me right now, I'm happy with was it 2160 by 1200 in this headset. I could see everything. If I want to see something closer, I could just use the zoom function like this, like a binocular, and I could see things pretty damn well. So in any event, that's the long-winded answer to GP's question. All right, next question. Donovan Young. Notice you wrap your yoke in tape. What did you use and why? And I know I answered this in the comment, but I thought a lot of people might want to know about that. So this was just like a purely selfish, dopey thing that I did. I got tired of feeling the cold plastic of the yoke, and I found some grip tape, some tennis grip tape. Let me see if I think I have an extra roll right here. Let me see if you guys can see this. Can you see that? It's grip tape, Gamma grip tape. I bought it on Amazon, 3 rolls for like $6 or something like that. Okay. tennis racket grip tape. And what I did was I put a roll on each side. It's kind of sloppy, but I'm telling you, when you do this, you squeeze it and you feel like you're squeezing into like a padded yoke. So it just gives you like a real world kind of feel rather than that hard, cold plasticky feel. And for $6, I just thought it was something that was interesting to do. I'm actually thinking about wrapping the flight stick that I bought, the Thrustmaster T1600 that I bought as well. But yeah, so that's the reason. Again, you can get it on Amazon. Gamma tape is what I used, but there's a bunch of different ones. About $6 for 3 rolls is what I paid. I actually did a video on it for those interested. But yeah, so that's the whole idea behind that. And yeah, I mean, it just makes it feel a little bit better. Makes it feel a little bit better. All right, so status and where we are. We got 30 miles or 11 miles out. Let's see if we can get ATIS. We should be able to.
LA Junta Muni weather. Wind calm, visibility more than 10. Sky clear, temperature 6, dew point -24. Altimeter 2992.
All right, so no preference on runways. Let's figure out which one we're going to go on to. So we're going to land on, well, let's figure it out here. Let's go to our binder. We don't need this one anymore. Let's go to the binder. We're going to land on 26, I believe. 26. All right, that's the wider, longer runway, so we're going to land on 26. Set heading bug to 260.
Heading bug set to 260 degrees.
That looks about right. And let's just make sure we got our frequencies right here. We're going to do straight in landing. 1230. It's CTAF. Good. All right, cool. Let's see, Donovan. Yeah, hey, curious. What did you? Why did you go back to the yoke versus the flight stick? All right, that's a good question. So, the reason why I went back to the yoke was that the flight stick. I talked about this in the last episode of Flying to Hawaii. The flight stick is really great. I had no problem with it, but it's designed for planes that hold their course when you move the stick. So in other words, when you move that flight stick down, even though when you bring it back to middle, the plane keeps going down. Okay, that's like a fighter pilot. Even the Cirrus jet. Vision jet works like that, okay? Wherever you put the stick is where the plane goes, and that's not how this plane works. This plane is a yoke, right? So when you pull, it didn't allow you to push forward and pull back, right? So push forward to descend, pull back to ascend. You had to tilt it, and when you tilted it, let's say you tilted it back, it held that same ascent rate until you moved it down, which isn't how an SR20 works. SR20 works like a yoke, right? When you push the yoke forward, your plane goes down, and as you level the yoke out, the plane will level out. So the flight stick didn't really mimic, or it didn't replicate what you do in a real SR20. So that's why I'm not using it for the SR20. Now, I will use it for probably the glider, because even though it's not quite right, it's still cool to have a stick there. I'll definitely use it for the Vision Jet because it's comparable to the way the stick works on the Vision Jet. And I just would rather have the yoke for this plane because it's the way it really works. So, you know, if I hit the lottery and somehow I ever get to really fly an SR20, I'll know I'll be used to flying it the correct way. So that's basically the right reason why I went back. It's a great stick. It works well. It's got 1 million buttons on it. A lot of people like using flight sticks, but I think the yoke for this plane, definitely for the Cessna 172, definitely for the B1900D Beechcraft big plane that I fly, yoke is a better move there because it's more realistic to how the control actually works. All right, let's see, how far are we here? All right, we're 20 miles out. We'll report at 15. Let's report now. La Junta traffic. Cirrus 328 Tango Delta. We are approximately 20 miles east of the airport at 6,000. We'll be coming in for a straight-in arrival on runway 26, La Junta. Am I pronouncing that right? Let's listen.
LA Junta Muni weather.
La Junta.
Wind
Okay.
calm.
All right. And we did say 26, right? Let's just make sure of that. Two six. Straight in arrival 26. Yeah, that was the reason for that. All right, cool. So I'll get to the other questions in a second here. Let's make sure we're good to go here as far as landing goes. All right, let's check our checklist for landing. Okay, altimeter. Yeah, we're gonna hand fly it down. Cabin's good. Landing lights are on. Fuel system. We probably should switch over to the left tank. Mixture. We're gonna push that in. We'll do our gump, right? Brake pressure. I'm not sure how we check that in the air, but before landing, we'll buckle our seats. We'll let the full pump to boost. Mixture. Full rich. Flaps as required, and autopilot. Beautiful. All right, good. Okay. Once we make our first turn at our... Actually, oh, wait, we're not 15 miles. We're 20 miles. My bad. We're actually 25 miles. So that was an incorrect call there because we're 15 miles from the turn, and that turn is about 12 miles from the airport, I believe. So we're actually 26 miles away. All right. Let's check our frame rates. 23, good. So we have a little time for another question. Let's see what we got here. All right. Elvic. You can see dark edges when you turn your head. Are those recording issues, or are they actually... or am I getting those when I'm playing or flying? So what he's saying is when I turn my head here, you see those black edges on the side? You guys can probably see them. I'll tell you that you see them because I'm using Oculus Mirror, the Oculus Mirror utility from Oculus to reproject this into OBS so you guys can see it. And when I turn my head, you get those black lines just because it can't keep up with the head movement. I don't see that in the headset at all. I probably would see that if the frame rates were lower in the headset, but because the frame rates are 92, 93, 94, 90, it keeps up with my head turning. So that's something you only see because it's Oculus Mirror tool. Now that mirror tool works well, but it has a lot to, got a ways to go. Number one, it's only like 720p, so that's why you see it as a little bit like fuzzy. I'm seeing things a lot clearer than you guys are because of that mirror. But unfortunately, it's the only way I can really reproject what I'm doing so you could see it in a non-distorted way, which I used to stream and use the X-Plane screen, but it was distorted. And people were complaining about that, and I would rather, I mean, if I was watching, I'd rather see the non-distorted. But anyway, to answer that question, that's an issue with Oculus Mirror tool. I don't see that at all when I turn my head, so anyway. Let's see, next question. Having issues changing frequencies with decent precision using the mouse, do you have any suggestions? All right, so here's a big suggestion here. Plane Command, okay? Planecommand.com. I had to pay for my own version. I don't get sponsored by the company. It's $20. It's the best $20 you'll ever spend for VR flying. You can do things like change altitude. You can change the heading bud. Every once in a while you hear me talk to the plane and it makes a change, especially for frequencies, okay? And it goes even deep into that. I'm not even using it to its full potential. You could change nav radios, a bunch of different stuff. So if you fly in VR, you got to check out Plane Command. It's a plugin $20. The guy who develops it, I believe his first name is Ken. Can't remember his last name. Really nice guy. He keeps up with it. He's dedicated to it, and it's a godsend for VR flying. Obviously in real life, in a real cabin, and a GA plane, you don't have voice recognition, at least not that I'm aware of. So you would want to be manipulating those with your hands. But in VR, it's kind of tough to do that. You use the mouse, and maybe that'll be better in X-Plane 11. You use the mouse, it's kind of difficult to get things in precision. But plane command can really be helpful and take the stress off the workload when you're flying in VR. So check it out, planecommand.com. Colin, how you doing? Good evening, baby. Good to see you live streaming. Good to see you here too, Colin. I appreciate you joining the chat. And guys, thanks everyone for joining the chat. Just another plug for the VR Aviators group on Facebook. Make sure you check that out. Just go to if you're on Facebook, type in VR Aviators group, and you'll find us there. It'll look like, let me pull this up here so you can see it. So you can see what it looks like. Give me 1 second here, guys. And that's what it looks like, the VR Aviators group. In fact, we've got a couple people wanting to join, or a person wanting to join already. So check that out on Facebook, the VR Aviators group. All right. Okay, let's see here. Four miles from our turn. And there's our turn. Just a little slight turn to get us on alignment. Now we're 15 miles out. So I'll make an announcement now. Let's do that. La Junta traffic, Cirrus 328 Tango Delta. We are 15 miles east of the airfield at 6,000 feet. We'll be making a straight-in landing, runway 26, full stop, La Junta. All right, they know we're coming. And yeah, starting to get a little bit better texture. Still have those circle farms. A lot of that stuff in Kansas, corn and wheat, I guess. But I can way in the distance out there, I can start to see the mountains. So that's like the lower Rockies, I guess, that we're going to be crossing. So we got 4 minutes to our landing here. We're going to make a straight-in landing right into La Junta. Kilo Lima Hotel X-Ray. And there we're going to pick up a couple of passengers, and it's a 50-mile shot to Trinidad, which is our last, it's Stokes, Trinidad, our last stop of the day. So making pretty good time. But I do realize I need to have more viewer questions. I'm not sure why did this go down. Sorry, guys. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. I lost my map there for a second. Not sure what the hell happened there, but I lost my map there for a second. Sorry about that. That's why when you're streaming, you got to be visual into all your systems. Kind of like when you're flying, because you got all this shit going on, and sometimes things go wrong. All right, let's see if we can get a visual on the airport. Yep, there it is, right there. I'm zooming in with the mouse wheel. You can see it. It's about 10 miles out, right there. Unfortunately, no scenery, which kind of sucks, but what can you do? All right. We'll announce at 5 miles, and then we'll take her in. We'll go through our Gump. gas, undercarriage, mixture, and prop. The procedure you go through before you land. Simple acronym. Make sure you cover the bases. I want to be on my left tank, which I am on. Pretty good fuel economy, burning 11 gallons per hour, which is pretty damn good. All right, we're 6 miles out, and there's our airfield. We'll start to come down now. Let's take her off autopilot. All right. La Junta traffic, Cirrus 328 Takeoff Delta. We are 5 miles east of the airport. Straight in arrival, runway 26, full stop, La Junta. Let's start to slow her down a little bit. Let's get the mixture in. Gas for good. Undercarriage is welded. Mixture is in, and prop we don't have to worry about. So start to slow the plane down, throttle back a little bit. We're coming down pretty quick. We don't want to throw our flaps on at this speed, because it'll just drive the nose right up. I want to get much slower here. Leveling off here. All right, let's get flaps to 1. Watch the nose. See the nose come up. I'm pushing down now. Slow that plane down. All right, so in retrospect, I probably should have started to descend at about 8 miles. Learned something new. Get flaps to full. All right, we got 2 white, 2 yellow, orange, which is what we want, which means we're on a good path here. 90, 89 knots. That's good. Sending into La Junta. La Junta traffic, Cirrus 328 Takeoff Delta. We are 2 mile final, runway 26, La Junta. Full stop, La Junta. By now they can see us, so. We got flaps to full. We're going to bring our trim up a little bit, nose up a little bit. Don't want to stall. We're at 70. It's a little slow. There's the 2.6. We know we're in the right spot. Flare her out. Bring her down. Oops. All right, that's good. Hate the sounds of those brakes. I know I say it every time, but I don't like the sound of those brakes. All right, good to go. We're going to pick up some passengers here. Let's get our flaps up. Not the greatest landing, but it's okay. Make sure we clear the threshold here before we announce CTAF. La Junta traffic, Cirrus 328 Takeoff Delta. Clear runway 26, La Junta. All right. All right, let's just stop right here. Set parking brake.
Brakes set.
All right, we got to turn this plane off. I think, do we have to turn it off to pick up the passengers? Yeah, I think we do. So let's turn her off. All right, that's good. Let's see. How are you getting on with the beta update? Yeah, I've got it. I've got it installed, and it's very stable. I'm happy with it. Oh yeah, I know. I noticed that with the 172 that it holds its height. That's really cool. Yeah, I haven't really experimented a lot with that, but I did notice that. They're making some good progress. All right, let me get my FSEconomy. Finish the flight. All right, that's good. All right, so now, let me show you where we are here, guys, what I'm doing. All right, so now I'm ready for departure. I've got my 3 people there. I've got my gas. I've got 30 gallons. I'm only flying 60 miles. That's plenty of gas for that, okay? And let me get, I'm going to turn FSEconomy on here, and when, you guys can't see that I'm doing there, but I do that, and now I update this. You can see it says en route, okay? So now we're going to make a little bit of money. Probably make about $1,200, $1,300, something like that, but at least it's something, right? That's what counts. All right, cool. So let's get this baby started up again. So we want mixture in. And batteries on. Clear prop. Oops. My mouse got stuck there. Throttle back to idle. Engine is plenty warm. So nav lights on, strobe lights on, landing lights on, pitot heat on. Okay, that's good. And we've got our flight plan is in. We've got right there, it's telling us we're going from Kimo Lima Hotel X-Ray to Joplin, which is our first leg. And then it's a quick into, I think this whole thing's about 60 miles, something like that. Let me just look here. Tell you in a second. Yeah, it's about 60 miles. So this will be a quick one. All right. Let's see. Assuming FSC doesn't do anything with weight and balance and explain. Yes, it does actually. It does interface with the weight and balance. So when you basically you have to calculate to make sure you've got the right amount of fuel for those passengers, and you do that on it. There's tools to do that. I just use the FSEconomy tools to do that, and you want to make sure that you're not overweighing the plane. But FSEconomy kind of has that stuff to help you do that. But yes, it does take that into consideration. And when you load the flight up in FSEconomy, that's when it puts the gas that you select in the plane, and it puts the passengers in the plane. So yeah. All right, I'm just kind of little. There you go. A little cockeyed here. There you go. All right, so our flight plan is in. We got everything good to go. All transponder, everything's in the same place that it was the last time. Now let's take a look at our flight level here. So because we're gonna have to get up in the air. We're gonna have to get up in the air. So we're going to Stokes, and Stokes is at almost that's 5,800 feet. So we better get this bird up to what, 8,000? Because we're going to start to go up into the mountains. So we're going to start to get into some cool visuals here, which is great. That's what I've been waiting for. All that flat land has been pretty bad. So let's look at the binder here. We're going to take off a 2.6. Actually, yeah, we're going to take off 2.6. But Stokes, let's see. Elevation is 5762. All right, we'll figure out which runway and stuff when we get there, but for now, we know we want to get her up to about 8,000, right? So let me reset the flight director, and bring this up to 8,000. Beauty. And that should be about it, right? That should be about it. We got plenty of gas. Let's, we probably should switch to our right tank. It's a little more full. And let's get out of here. Junta traffic, Cirrus 328 Tango Delta, taxiing to runway 26 for a western departure. La Junta. Nice looking plane, isn't it? I love this plane. The Cirrus jet's cool looking too. All right. Getting closer. Getting close to LAX. All right, let's see. Can we get on this runway here? We don't need to go all the way to the end. I guess we'll go over here. The traffic Cirrus 328 Tango departing runway 26 to the west to 8,000 feet. La Junta. All right. Let's get our flaps to the 1 position. Now you could actually do that in plane command. I have it on a button, so it's easy, but you can do that kind of thing in plane command. All right, we good to go here? We're good to go. Here we go. Oh, come on, 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 come on. Come on, stay on the lane, stay in your lane. Try to give you a different view there. All right, flaps up. Let's get turned on our heading. Let's get our autopilot going here, baby. Let's get her up at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we'll nicely climb up to 8,000. Beautiful. The traffic Cirrus 328 Tango Delta, departing the pattern to the southwest, La Junta. Goodbye, La Junta. All right, good. Let's see, everything good to go here? Yep. Climbing up into the mountains. Optimal ascent rate is 110 knots, I believe, in this plane. That's what I read, so just about where we're getting to right now, climbing at 500 feet per minute, which is a Good rate for the 3 passengers we have. We don't want them to get sick. Let's see what kind of rates we're getting. 23, 22. That's good. Everything looking good. We got a little bit higher to go here. Let's see. Yeah, you love the series. It is beautiful. It is beautiful. I love watching the real world videos of people flying them. There's not a lot of the Vision Jet yet. I'm looking forward to that. That's a really cool plane too. But if you get a chance, Donovan, I don't know if you have yet or not, try flying the Vision Jet on X-Plane with the G1000. It's a nice experience. And try landing it. It's pretty cool. Have I gotten stuck in an airport without gas yet? An FS? No, CBB, because I plan everything out. I make sure that I don't. You know, that's one of the things I do when I'm planning. I want to make sure that I'm not having an issue. So yeah, I don't. Plenty of places I go. Like the main thing I try to do is try to find assignments, but that's difficult to do sometimes. But I think as we get west here, it's a little bit easier. You gotta remember, I came from like central Pennsylvania, where I started with this plane, so it's taken quite a trip here. Yeah, you gotta plan ahead, and you know, I mean, FSEconomy, for all its archaicness, because it is a bit archaic in its design, it does have a lot of tools that can help you. Yeah. So let's see. I had one more question. Let's see. Let me get to that. It was from Tony. Tony is often a contributor. Usually watches these after. He says, is the 1080 Ti doing anything more? He's basically saying, has it improved the experience over the 1070? So, I will say this. Now, in X-Plane 11, and I've talked about this before, so sorry if this is redundant. X-Plane 11 is based on a GPI, a graphics API called, graphics API called OpenGL, which is a pretty old technology, okay? It's also a very CPU-centric technology. It was designed well before, like, today's modern GPUs came out. So, let's see where we are here. We're at 6,700, so we should level off at 8,000. So, it was designed well before, you know, today's modern GPUs came out, right? So, I mean, the days when they were like the 730s and those type of GPUs, right? Which are, you know, 6-7 years old. And it's been fine for those, but it's also very CPU intensive. OpenGL relies on a fast CPU because it's not designed for a multi-threaded CPU. Today's CPUs have multiple virtual CPUs. So like the CPU I'm using, 6700, has 8 virtual CPUs. And in the current state of X-Plane, because of OpenGL, only one of those CPUs can talk to your graphics card, which means there's a bottleneck. So you'll never see, like I'll never see the 1080 Ti. If I was running X-Plane 11 in 2D, I would really never see the 1080 Ti go above like 35% because of that bottleneck. So to answer the question, in 2D, right now it doesn't make sense to go above a 1070. And Mike Brown of X-Plane has videos on this. The 1070 is like the sweet spot GPU for X-Plane in 2D. Now, add Fly Inside into it and add the Oculus Rift into it. Those are 2 more elements now your GPU has to process, right? So I believe a 1080 Ti will help you in the configuration that I'm running, or a lot of the people that are watching this video are running with VR, because you're now dealing with Fly Inside and you're now also dealing with Oculus. So the 1080 Ti allows you to do things like super sampling of the Oculus up to, like, you know, I have it at 200%, right? To increase the visuals even more. So yes, in VR, there's an advantage of having a 1080 Ti over a 1070. In 2D, there's not much of an advantage yet. I mentioned this, I don't know if I mentioned this stream, but Oculus, or sorry, not Oculus, Laminar has said that they are moving X-Plane 11 away from OpenGL to what they call Vulkan. And Vulkan is a newer graphics API that allows software to take advantage of multiple CPU threads, which means all of the CPU threads can talk to your GPU. Games like GTA, I think Grand Theft Auto, some of the newer games, well, it's not a new game, but all those popular, what they call AAA games, have been designed, I'm not sure if they're on Vulkan, but they're designed for multi-thread, right? Some are on Unity, there's different APIs. So Laminar's chosen to use the Vulkan API, at least that's what they said, and their plan is sometime in 2018 to release a new system of X-Plane that's going to be based on Vulkan, which will then allow your CPU to better communicate with your GPU. I'm trying to do this in layman's terms, right? Have better communication. So then, if you have a 1080 Ti, it's going to use that 1080 Ti to its fullest extent. And plus, by then, in X-Plane, you're going to have native VR, so you'll be losing the fly inside module, which will, you know, allow you to gain back that power as well. So, a long answer to a simple question. 1070 is your sweet spot for today's 2D X-Plane. 1080 Ti will help you with X-Plane if you're running in VR, because you've got fly inside and you also have the Oculus Rift to deal with. So 1080 Ti is going to help you with cycles there. But when X-Plane goes to Vulkan, that's when the floodgates are going to hopefully unleash, and you'll be able to take advantage of the full power of your GPU. Now, the one thing that X-Plane does not have, it doesn't have SLI support. SLI is when you can have two graphics cards running in parallel, both handling the graphics processing work from a game application, right? X-Plane doesn't take advantage of SLI. Maybe it will with Vulkan, not sure. I'm not sure if that's a limitation of OpenGL, might be. I don't understand that software design side. It's not really my area of understanding, but I know it well enough to know that the current platform does not support this solid GPU use, and Vulkan is supposed to help with that. So anyway, that's the answer to that question, Tony. Smart CFI. What is not sure what you mean by CFI. Maybe you can explain, Donovan. Oh, you guys are talking about fail to plan to fail. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's true. And also fly the plane first, right? That's the other thing you have to make sure you're always thinking. Fly the plane first. All right, let's check our status of where we are here. So we've got 27 miles to our turn, so about 37 miles to the airport. I think it's time to set up our comms. We'll do that. We don't need this guy anymore. At Perry Stokes. Setcom 1 to 122.8.
COM1 set to 122.8.
Setcom 2 to 119.02.
COM2 set to 119.02.
Yeah, fly ahead of the plane. That's the truth. Fly ahead of the plane. Oh, we're starting to see some mountains. Isn't that nice? Getting away from this barren terrain, I guess you would say. Now, I have world objects on medium because I want to fly with the better fly inside specs and or graphic detail, I should say, and that's one way to do a trade-off for frame rates, which I'm above 20. That's all I want. I want to be above 20 or above. All right, so Heading towards Joplin. We probably should pick up the weather by now. Let's just see if we can. Nope, not yet. We'll leave it on. So we'll hear it when it comes in. Yeah, so get ready. I'm hoping those FSE, the flight, FSEconomy guys put the Cirrus in. I was corrected. Posting replies and votes on that on their forum won't get them to include it. It's got to meet their criteria, and their criteria is 50 production planes. Now, I think they've got 50 production planes by now because they said they're building one a day. One a day, I think they said, or maybe one a week. I can't remember. And that was like in July, so, or August. So I gotta believe they've delivered 50 of them. That's the Cirrus Vision Jet. So I'm really hoping that they put that into FSEconomy. So I want to get one, buy one. All right. To Colin, the other thing I remember him saying is that it's better to be on the ground wishing you were in the air than wishing wishing you were on the ground. That's really true, man. That's really true, right? Prep before you go, right? Ralph says, hey, Bambino and y'all, newbie here. When you purchase an aircraft from FSEconomy, do they become add-ons in the sim or just virtual planes only in FSE? Okay, so let me try to answer that. So the way it works, Ralph, is that to use a plane in FSEconomy, you have to have that plane in your flight simulator, all right? So let's take, for example, X-plane, okay? You have to, if you wanted to use the, let's say this plane, okay, the SR20. There is an SR20 in FSEconomy, but you have to have that plane in your flight simulator to be able to use it. So you would have to buy this plane from V-Flight Air, have it in your flight simulator. When you go to FSEconomy, you either you can rent the plane. You don't have to buy it. You can rent one. There's a bunch of them in the game, okay, or in the economy. Or you could buy one for like, I think it's like $250,000, something like that. But you have to have one in your simulator. Any plane you fly. But you don't have to buy a plane. You could just rent it. So, for example, when you start, I suggest if you're using X-plane, start with like the King Air, because that seats like, I think it's 12 people. You can rent one pretty reasonably in FSEconomy. There's a ton of places you can rent them. There's a bunch of them in the game. And you can make money flying 10, 12, 9, 10, 12 people around. You make, $8 grand a flight, $7, $8 grand a flight. So you can make a lot of money. So. But to answer your question, you have to have the plane in your simulator that you want to use in FSE. Yeah, if we all buy one, that'll bring the numbers up at like 2.3 million, Colin. Yeah, right. Yeah, I have that discretionary income lying around that I could just spend on a Cirrus Vision SF50 jet. I think that I really think that FSEconomy should make an exception for that because number one, it's a standard plane in X-plane, and number two, now that it's got like really good avionics, it makes sense for it to be in FSEconomy because it's a really easy jet to fly. So like, if you're going from GA to jets, that's like the first jet I would recommend trying, at least for me, because it's very easy to fly, and I think it would actually bring a lot of people to FSEconomy if they have it in there, which I'm not sure those guys are really focused on growth. They have to. They kind of like, it's kind of like a little archaic. I mean, it's a cool system. I'm not bashing the system. I really like being involved with it, but they have an edict that they will still support, I think, FS Flight Simulator 9 or something like that. So, you know, I'm not sure. I think that they need to kind of be a little bit more flexible, especially when it comes to these types of planes. But anyway, that's just my thought. They can do whatever they want. All right, let's see here. Let's figure out where we're going to come into. Perry Stokes. I guess we'll come into. I think we're coming into 2-1. 2-7 looks like it's closed. Let me just look at my map here. Yeah, we're coming into 2-1. All right. So we're going to be at 2-1. That's Stokes, and let's just see how far away we are. All right, we're about 20 miles out. All right, so let's let them know. What's this place called? Hold on. Perry Stokes. Perry Stokes. Perry Stokes traffic, Cirrus 328 Tango Delta. We are about 15 miles northeast of the airport. We will be coming in a straight-in arrival on runway 26, Perry Stokes. Hopefully I got that runway correct. Let's just see. Sorry, 27. 27. Oh, sorry, 21. 21. Duh. 21. Perry Stokes traffic, Cirrus 328 Tango Delta, correction. We are 10 miles northeast of the airport. We'll be coming into a straight-in arrival, runway 21, Perry Stokes. That was a pretty sloppy call, but a call nonetheless. All right, let's switch over to our left tank, because we're getting a little low here. I never did adjust the lean out the engine because I was yapping, but that's all right. We got plenty of gas to get there. It's a quick one. And when we make our turn, I'll start the descent. But you can see we're starting to get into the lower Rockies, which is really nice. Have to be flying this guy a little bit higher. I also got a new chair. I'm like sitting up higher, and it makes the using the rudder pedals a lot easier. So, just a little side note there. All right, let's get to the outside here. There she is. All right, we should be about 10 miles. Let's set our heading bug. Set heading bug to 210.
Heading bug set to 210 degrees.
Let's see if we could pick up the airport. Yep, there it is. Not sure if we're going to have a straight in here, but all right. Here's our airport, so we're going to have to fly a little bit to the south, get on the coordinate. Okay, let's Perry Stokes traffic, Cirrus 328 Tango Delta. We are 10 miles northeast of the airport. We'll be coming in for a straight-in arrival, runway 21, Perry Stokes. All right, let me get where I am here. Try to pick up some visual references. All right, we're going to take it off autopilot now. Start to slow the plane down. Let's do our gump. We got So our gas is good. We're on the left tank. Undercarriage is welded. Mixture is in, and prop we don't have to worry about. Just start to bring the plane down. I could just make out the runway. Starting to descend a little bit earlier this time. All right. Perry Stokes traffic, Cirrus 320 Echo Delta. We are 5 miles north of the airport. Straight in arrival, runway 21, Perry Stokes. All right, let's get flaps to 1. Slow her down to about 110. Everything looking good. Never did get ATIS for, maybe I must have had the ATIS on the wrong frequency. Never did get any weather from there. Starting to see some mountains, so the next flight's going to be a nice scenic flight. No more of this flat ground that we've been seeing since Pennsylvania, right? So, episode number 6, we'll see some cool stuff. Looking forward to it. All right, let's go full flaps. Let's see. Nope. Perry Stokes traffic, Cirrus 320 Tango Delta. We are on 2 mile final runway 21. Straight in arrival, Perry Stokes. Full flaps. And we are going to be 200 miles closer to LA, so about 800 miles left. I figured it was going to take 6 or 8, I figured about 8 episodes to get there. But it's kind of cool to do this, I think. All right, 82 knots. Let's pay attention to landing. We got 4 orange, which is not good. We're good. We're okay. We're okay. Full flaps, 82 knots, coming in nice. Let's make sure our trim is up. Get that nose up a little bit. Get it to the mid-70s. Looking good. Oh, we got some structure at this airport. 75, 74, there's 2-1. Gonna flare her out. Throttle down, let her just come down. Come on, come on down, come on down, come on down. Not the greatest landing. But the space shuttle over there? I want to catch this ramp right here. Flaps up. Oh, looks like is that a citation? I don't know. We are at Perry Stokes. Perry Stokes traffic, Cirrus 320 Tango Delta. We are clear runway 21, taxiing to FBO. Perry Stokes. Got him on the grass over there. Alrighty. Well, I appreciate you guys joining me for the flight. Like I said, one step closer to getting this pineapple to Hawaii. Now, I'm going to start probably posting on the FSEconomy forum to see if I can hire somebody to take this thing to Hawaii for me. It's going to cost me... Set parking brake.
Brakes set.
Beautiful. It's going to cost me about $7 grand to crate it up. So, and I think it's about just about under 1,000 kilograms. I think. Let's get the plane off here. It's going to cost about 1,000. It's going to cost me about yeah, what'd I say? About $7,000 to crate her up. Okay, let's just make our money here. Let me go to let's go to FSEconomy so you guys can see what kind of coin I made. Boom. All right, go to log. Oh, it made $1,400. Not bad. All right. Not bad, actually, since consider it was $1,600 income. That's what's nice about owning your own plane, right? The ground crew is $163, 34 cents. Why did I have to pay 34 cents rental amount? I own the plane. That's a bug. That's weird. In any event, that puts me at about a little lower. Again, it's about $120,000, which is good. Let's see here. So, any questions here? Let me just check here. CBB is obsessed with the Eclipse 550 NG. It looks like a nice plane. Often thought about getting that plane, actually. Looks like a really nice plane. Yeah, better sloppy call than no call, that's for sure. I should add S for safety. Gumps, yeah. But actually, I think it's just Gump. It's gas undercarriage mixture prop. It's basically the GA acronym. When will I be flying next? Probably, let's see, probably, maybe I'll do one tomorrow, maybe in a couple of days. Not sure. It depends on my schedule, but definitely within the next week. 34-minute flight. Yeah, but I'm not sure why was it. Why did it have 34 minutes? I see. My bad. Yeah, you're right. 34 minutes. Duh. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I looked at that too quickly. In any event, we are one step closer to getting to the final destination, guys. And I appreciate you guys watching today. No, the S in the end is for real means safety belt. I get you. Yeah, that's a good idea. Safety belts. And also there's a checklist in the SR20. I could go through. I went through it the first landing, but I could have gone through. Now, hopefully the next time I'll have my Flight Plan Go tracking working. Hopefully I'll be able to figure that out. But in any event, guys, I want to say thanks for checking out the stream. Make sure you check out VR Aviators on Facebook if you're interested in VR aviation. The VR Aviators group. Check it out on Facebook. And also, thanks for watching. Hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. If you do subscribe, consider hitting that little bell icon. And when you hit that bell icon, you'll get a notification when I'm streaming. And Colin, Donovan, CBB, everybody else that participated in chat, thanks a lot, guys, and have a great Saturday. Take care.